What a great chapter. It just kind of went back and forth between the balls to the wall action and just the awesome feeling of discovery. One Piece, chapter 268. Sweet.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the excellently woven, detail-oriented, thrill-a-minute tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw a number of different kind of threads that were being dangled out there as far as the different straw hats and the Shandians and the priests of Enel and Ganfal and everything starting to kind of come together, you know, up at the top, or at least the middle portion of this beanstalk where there is some of the runes of Shandora, which I assumed it was the runes of Shandora. But anyway, we'll get right into it over here because really things left off with Ohm and his dog Holly and Ganfal, the giant serpent. Zoro, we know Chopper, of course, has been incapacitated. He's knocked out, he's injured, or what have you from a couple chapters ago with Ohm, and then Wyper, and they're all about to just have a huge royal rumble, and that's really what it is. The first portion of the chapter, this chapter is kind of cool because it goes between that and Robin, who actually I forgot about, but she was sitting at the bottom of the beanstalk, and remember last time we saw her, she was like, what? No, it couldn't be. And I was thinking that, like, okay, she's going to go up the beanstalk like everybody else has done, right? Well, anyway, it starts out and you have all these different fighting going on. We find out actually very quickly that that Ohm is like a special, Pokemon breed trainer or something along those lines, because he has trained this giant dog Holly how to stand on two legs and how to actually utilize hand-to-hand combat. Because as Zoro is going to nail somebody, I think he's going to hit Wyper, maybe he's going to hit the snake, I don't know. I forget, because everybody's trying to hit everybody, everybody's trying to attack everybody. You just see the dog stand up and be like, wham! Just Zoro like, what the fuck? The fucking dog just hit me? So it's kind of cool though, and Ganfal comes flying in trying to nail Ohm. Wyper's firing his rocket launcher everywhere. The snake's just going batshit crazy. We see one panel of Luffy where he's obviously inside the snake. He's like, what the hell? And he's kind of like falling. He's like, there's something weird about this cave. And Luffy's a little bit dim-witted when it comes to common sense. It's not very common to him. But it is kind of funny to see because he's just like, what the hell's going on with this? I can't find a way out of here, and I don't know, this thing's all weird. It keeps moving, the walls and the floor. It's like, but anyway, so Luffy is trapped inside the snake still, as this thing is just going bonkers, batshit crazy all over the place. Again, everybody's just fighting and beating the living piss out of each other. You got Ganfal, you got Wyper, just he's just angry and trying to attack anybody for the most part. It doesn't matter if it's he's shooting at Zoro, he's firing at the snake. Zoro is trying to take out this Ohm, but he also knows that the Wyper is getting in his way. And then there's a lot of shit talking going on between all of them, which is it's interesting, I guess, to say the least. Ganfal, of course, is still wounded. So very, very cool stuff, as far as just the action and how it's all depicted. So then it takes us to the bottom of the beanstalk, and we wind up seeing we see like a bunch of we don't see at first Robin, we just see like this hole, and we're like, what the hell? Okay. And she's down in there, and it's kind of cool because they show her down in this hole that was dug, but then they go and they show on the wall of the hole like a bunch of hands like pulling boulders up and stuff, and I'm assuming she's like digging, and as she's digging down, they're pulling everything out for her, which I thought was cool. And she's like wiping her forehead, like, oh Jesus, hard work, So finally she goes and she winds up kind of busting through to wherever she was trying to get to, and all of a sudden there's like an opening, and she drops down into this other area, and she's like, it's just like I thought. This is Shandora, or this is the runes of it. But what happened is that basically, even though it's from the Blue Sea, the clouds started to overtake it, and it pretty much like when something gets overgrown with like moss or ivy, those type of things, and it pretty much just completely can encase and cover like a building or what have you. Or over time, like for instance, runes and things, even from fossils from dinosaurs over millions of years and whatnot, you have erosion, but you also have sediment that builds up from obviously just the winds and the rains and all the weather and everything. So this is a similar thing, but up in the sky. All the clouds have just kind of overtaken this city, and although I thought that the runes were up, the runes were actually down. So she digs down into these and finds, you know, this cavernous opening, and she's all excited, of course. And as I said, I'm really enjoying Robin's character anyway, so I was certainly happy to kind of see her get some screen time, so to speak, in this chapter. And it then winds up going and taking us back to the action for a minute. At some point in here, you wind up seeing very briefly, of course, Nami, you know, was trying to stop Isa from getting away on one of those waivers and wind up jumping on with her, and then because of the snake and everything else, just kind of got diverted off into the forest. So you do see them at one point going to, they wind up seeing some of the Shandians and some of the angelic warriors, and they're all kind of just making a beeline for the beanstalk, because they can see that there's just all hell breaking loose up there on that middle tier area, right? And it's funny too, because they're like, the heavenly warriors are always like, bah! And Nami's like, what the hell? Why do they do that? Are they goats? You know? So anyway, so everybody is converging, of course, on there. We see that briefly. But when we're taken back to the action over here, I thought it was kind of cool, because we wind up seeing what this whole iron challenge is actually about. And what it really is it's like giant booby traps. Part of what happened to Chopper is that there's these clouds, these clouds that come from Milky Dials that basically are light as the clouds and everything. But Zoro winds up seeing Chopper, and he's like, whoa, and he goes over to help, and he's like, hey, buddy, are you okay? What's going on? Why'd you come up here alone, you know? And next thing you know, all of a sudden you see Zoro, and it's like, and out of this cloud shoots like this barbed wire that goes and runs right through him, you know? And I'm sure that, you know, it's Zoro, it's okay, it's just a flesh wound, he'll be all right. He lost a kidney, no big deal, I got another one, you know? That's because he's just a badass like that. But nonetheless, it serves to obviously make him aware of what's going on, and to introduce us to and actually explain what this iron challenge is about. So Ohm does go and explain, you know, and then he even says with Chopper, he's like, half of it was, you know, was him just kind of running into one of those traps, because these things are everywhere. And you don't know, you can't see them, but, you know, it's been like a pressure plate type thing, you know, almost like invisible lasers or what have you. As soon as you go and hit that point or cross that invisible tripwire, one of these things will skewer you, you know. So, and then he's just like, well, you know, only half of that, what happened to the animal, he's talking about Chopper, is only half of it was from that, you know. I kicked his ass with the other half, you know, I jacked him up, you know. So it's great, because then you just see Zoro get that determined look on his face and turn like, oh boy, it's going to go down now, right? And then he's like, oh, do you want revenge? And Zoro's like, no, I usually don't fight with motives, you know. And he's like, oh, I see, an idealist and this and that. And Zoro's like, no, but I think I could find one. You know what I mean? So you know Zoro's about to just go fucking all out, you know. Oh, and I love it. But then we wind up, so like I said, we get, you know, some more battling between them. Ganfal and Ohm are kind of going at it at one point. You know, Ohm's making fun of Ganfal, that he has, you know, he can't comprehend what the gods' plans are. And Ganfal, of course, even in his weakened state, is just trying to save people, his people especially. And then Wyper is just angry as usual. And the snake, of course, is just going batshit crazy everywhere up there. So all hell breaks loose up there. And it's really kind of cool, though, because then it takes us back down to Robin, who is, of course, now down in this cavernous area of these ruins, you know. And she goes and she finds this stairway. And at the bottom of this stairway, she sees light, and she's like, whoa, there's light, you know. So she starts going down towards there, and then I think that actually happened. That was where the break happened, you know, before then went back to the action. I forget exactly, but it's kind of cool, because then all of a sudden she's, you know, going down and appearing, and she's like talking to herself with an inner monologue about how she's figuring everything out. And the next thing you know, man, they just give you this awesome double page spread over here. Yeah, I'll have to put that up there so you get a nice look at it. And I just thought it was great, because she's just like, this is Shandora, the lost city of gold. And it's cool because you see the clouds above it and everything like that. So this whole city has actually been buried underneath and like in these clouds, within this portion of blue sea land. And just really cool, man, because she's talking about how, you know, the city just disappeared 800 years ago, right? But this portion of Jaya only came up into Skypiea 400 years ago. So obviously there's something, you know, something amiss going on over here, because the city disappeared 800 years ago. So hopefully we'll find out a little more about that, why, what, and, you know, all the questions that we have. So that is how the chapter ends off, and certainly a very fun one. Like I said, just kind of everything coming together, but then the back and forth between the balls to the wall action and Robin, you know, I definitely enjoyed. So my chapter question is, though, what are your initial thoughts thoughts on Shandora. You know, when I see something like this, I immediately think back to, you know, something like Indiana Jones or something like that, man, when he's looking for the Holy Grail. You know, it's just like, whoa, this is the lost city of gold. And I mean, it's in black and white, so I don't know if the whole city is actually gold. You know, I'll see that once I get to that point in the anime. But just for me, it's a cool feeling. I really like the whole explanation of it, the whole fact that Shandora was actually down and not up like I thought. But what are your thoughts on that, brothers and sisters? Leave your answer in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Cowboy hats and cleavage, that's my kind of girl. Go over and look at my Facebook and Instagram.